Planning Commission meeting to order. The first item of business is the approval of the agenda. Any changes from staff?
Madam Chair, we have no changes for you tonight at this time.
Thank you. Any changes from the commissioners?
Move approval.
Second.
Moved by approval was by Commissioner Schindler, seconded by Commissioner Scanlon. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Nay. Motion carries. The next item of business is the approval of the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered routine and will be enacted with a single motion without discussion unless a commissioner or citizen requests to have any item separately considered. It will then be moved to the regular agenda for consideration. Can I get a motion of approval?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Scanlon moved that and Commissioner Halas seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. We do not have any public hearings tonight, so that brings us to our land use action items, which is 5A, the sketch plan for Village Point Plaza, Lot 2, Block 1. Hello, Sydney.
Good evening, Chair Kurtz and Commissioners. Tonight I'll be presenting to you a sketch plan for Village Point Plaza, Lot 2, Block 1. Specifically, you're going to review and consider a sketch plan of an 80-unit continuum of care facility and commercial building on the subject property. The site is located within Central Village. It's just west of Galaxy Avenue and just east of the existing Zavago Senior Housing Cooperative. The property is within PD 739 Zone 4. This plan development encompasses the Central Village neighborhood. Subzone 4 includes uses primarily for retail uses and then limited office uses. A continuum of care facility is currently not a permitted use. So if this project were to move forward, that would need to include some sort of amendment to that subzone or rezoning to a different zone within the central, within PD 739. This plan development is subject to the Central Village plan guidelines, the requirements within PD 739, and then also just general zoning requirements in Chapter 155. To give some background, the original approval of this plat was approved in 2018. The approvals also, included the site plan building permit authorization for the Zavago site, which is located on Lot 1, and then Lot 2 included assumed future uses for retail, restaurant, and office uses throughout a couple of commercial buildings. At the time of approvals, it also included a development to, or an amendment to the plan development. These two properties were in different subzones. They were rezoned, and part of those amendments also included changes. So originally, it would need to be vertical mixed use. Those amendments changed that to horizontal mixed use across a planned area rather than the vertical mixed use on two separate lots. So that's how it allowed for the residential use on Lot 1 and then the assumed future commercial uses on Lot 2. The site plan that we have submitted and for your review today includes a 67,000 square foot continuum of care facility, which includes 45 assisted living units and then 35 memory care units. The site plan also shows a small 2,000 square foot retail building. I do not believe that there is an intended user at this time, so it would be built on a speculative basis. It also includes access from the existing access points off of 153rd Street West and then Founders Lane. There would be no new accesses as part of this project. The primary concerns and comments that staff have for the site plan at this time, number one being the retail building. The retail building isn't necessarily any sort of requirement within the plan development as a separate freestanding building. Staff does have concerns on the feasibility of a freestanding retail use at this time. There has been no users that have gone into this vacant site for years, so there are concerns that that might not be filled out right away. If the applicant were to move forward with the retail use, staff would suggest seeing that as either an end cap to the existing building or incorporated on the first floor of the continuum of care facility. The next comment would be a pedestrian connection throughout the site. Central Village is a highly pedestrian-oriented neighborhood, so staff would like to see a connection from 153rd Street West down to Founders Lane South. That incorporates wayfinding as well for a mid-block pedestrian connection. And then lastly, for parking, there is no minimum parking requirement for this specific use within our city code. So we would want to see some sort of parking analysis or parking study that goes over the amount of stalls that would be needed for this use, and then staff would analyze that. The renderings that were submitted show primarily architecture on the interior of the site. The narrative submitted indicated that the materials would be fiber cement board, EIFS, stone veneer, and brick veneer, and then also wood siding. Staff would like to see renderings and elevations of the elevations along Galaxy Avenue and then Founders Lane. Within the Central Village plan and the guidelines within the PD, architectural features need to be consistent across all sides of the building. Additionally, prominent features need to be focused along Galaxy Avenue and other public right-of-way. So we would like to see that to ensure that there are the more prominent features located on those roadways. I went over quite a few of these staff comments in previous slides, but just to go over the main question that we have for tonight that we'd like the Planning Commission to comment on and provide feedback to the applicant is the continuum of care use. So it's currently not permitted. Again, if this project were to move forward, there would need to be some sort of amendment or rezoning to allow that. So what staff and the applicant would like to know is any sort of questions or concerns you have for that proposed use. Again, went over most of these in the previous slides. Then lastly, this is not a full review of this proposed project, so there would be significant additional submittals that we would need to review. This would also, if this were to move forward, this would include a public hearing, so there would be a public comment period in the future, again, if this were to move forward. So to reiterate for tonight, this is just to receive feedback for the applicant and it's not for formal consideration. The Planning Commission is asked to identify any specific zoning questions or issues you might have with the project. Staff would not recommend saying whether you would approve or deny the project, just simply provide questions and comments on the proposed use and project. And with that, we do have the applicant here tonight. They have prepared a presentation, so I can either take questions now or we can wait until after their presentation as well.
Maybe we'll wait till after his presentation for questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Sydney. Applicant?
Thank you, Chair and the Commission. And is your title, is it Planning Director? Sid?
Maybe in a couple years.
Oh, yeah. Sid, not yet. Yeah, pretty soon, I think. I'm Ben Kriznak. I'm with Hempel Real Estate. We've been involved in Apple Valley Real Estate for over 10 years. We've developed 4 different properties in the city, including several retail properties. And this is my business partner on the project. Lucas, you can do some.
Yeah, I'm Lucas Larson. I own Galahad Development and Coretta Senior Living. I've been developing senior living for going on 12 years. I used to work for a large national building. You probably recognize them in town. And started Galahad and Coretta in 2020. Since 2 of which have been with Hempel, Ben and his brother Josh. We've developed 5 since then. We have 4 buildings open and 1 under construction outside of Milwaukee in the Brookfield area. Our kind of core operating tenet is to serve our neighbors as ourselves, and so we operate under the mindset of trying to dovetail the city's perspective and the residents' perspectives with our perspectives and our residents' perspectives. Thanks for the opportunity for having us tonight. I mean, I'm definitely curious to get feedback on this. I appreciate the opportunity to do it so early. We don't have that at a lot of cities, and it's very helpful. So if you have any initial comments or concerns or feedback, love to jot those down and perhaps even answer some questions off the cuff here if you have them.
But first, I've got about 45 minutes of slides to go through, so we'll get through those quick. But we just wanted to kind of explain how we got to senior housing on this site and how we think it fits in the community, and wanted to get, obviously maybe a vibe check on what works here. But like I said, we've been doing retail in the city, built 4 strip centers in the last 10 years. All been really successful and well received. Those 2 locations have been on Cedar and on Pilot Knob. Those we find are kind of more the main traffic fares, in addition to County Road 42. And on this section of Galaxy, as you continue down south, it does tee. I think it's at 160th, but it tees, and that really decreases the traffic on that road. And so, well, it's closer to 15,000 cars per day up by Culver's, drops down to about 6,000 cars towards the end of that street towards us. And compared to Cedar, which is 50,000 cars a day, Pilot Knob, which is over 30,000 cars per day, 42, I think, is around 50,000. So it's much higher, triple to more than that traffic. And so that's why we think retail has had a tough time taking off at this particular intersection. So we wanted to walk through some neighboring property uses and talk and compare and contrast kind of some similarities of our proposed project to those. And so obviously here's the site located in right off of Galaxy. So we zoom in, see a variety of different types of uses in this area. We got a hotel, we got a Culver's, the super cool new pickle hall thing that's opening soon. There's several apartment buildings, there's park, there's the mixed use office retail building. So as we look at each different quadrant of this intersection, to the east we have the 2-story office retail building. It was built about 20 years ago. They have a few vacancies, but it is it's there. Yeah, it's nice looking. And then we have a residential to the northeast, purely apartment building called Galante. To the north, there's really a traditional strip mall, which is a 1-story building with actually the parking in the front. Residential to the southeast, this is a 3-story building, somewhat similar to what we're thinking. And to the south and southwest, there's some townhomes, and then there's also an apartment building called Riser. And then directly to the west, which we think is a great fit, is a senior co-op that is adjacent to the property. It does share parking. There's some shared parking between the 2 properties. It's a couple buildings that we built. I don't know why I put these in here, but we do nice. We like to really go above and beyond on the architecture component, additional landscaping, try to more than meet the code. We like to exceed it. Another one we built on Cedar, also a successful project. And so then we get to our proposed plan. The backside which is really we also view as the front side facing Galaxy, will have similar architecture. Agree that we could move some of these towers to that side to make that more prominent feature. Also with that retail building there, we're not married to that plan. Certainly don't need a curb cut there. And if we didn't build that building, we probably would just add additional green space. We do have more than adequate parking for this facility. Typical facility is about 30 employees, although they don't all work at the same time. There's some visitors. Almost none of the residents drive, particularly the memory care, but even assisted living. If you're in this facility, you're taking the shuttle bus that's provided for free.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I mean,
Or
so
a van.
Yeah, if you don't mind, our average resident is, or our typical like profile is an 85-year-old widow, and so and she has at least two, we call them ADLs, needs for help with activities of daily living, so things like eating and dressing, so on and so forth. So generally speaking, everybody moving into our building requires some level of care. Just some residents require more than others. So we get a few folks bringing cars in a building like this who might have 10 or 15 cars that residents bring, but they never drive them. It's more of a something to kind of keep their spirits up and make them feel like they still have some freedom and some dignity. And beyond that, we have, as Ben said, 25 to 30 FTEs over 3 shifts. Our busiest shift usually has around 15 FTEs. That would be our day shift. And the balance of our traffic is simply visitors in and out during the day, and it's never super intense. So from a city's perspective, it's kind of nice because we bring in a strong tax base and we bring in jobs, but we don't bring in the intensity of like a retail building or like a market rate multifamily building. So you kind of, in a way, get best of both worlds with high care assisted living building like what we develop.
I'd also like to comment on the 2-story component. We think this brings in that, and it really mirrors across the street to the east, but also this is a requirement of the state building code. Is that correct?
What is that? I'm sorry.
The 2-story component.
Yeah. So a couple years ago, the state limited stick-built, stick-frame assisted living to 2 stories, and memory care actually to 1 story. And so we can only have memory care on our 1st story here now, and then the rest of the building would be assisted. And so we are limited by state building, and there's sort of they dovetail together, but state building and licensing requirements now limit us to a 2-story building.
That's to ensure that everyone can get out in any sort of emergency.
That's the thought.
Yeah, additional green space we think would be great. So if we could eliminate the retail building and do green space, that would be advantageous.
Yeah, I think we originally proposed the retail, just given the reading through the existing code and trying to really bridge the gap between what I offer and then what the existing code sort of wanted to see here. But I know my residents would love to have a little bit more green space here, and just given the challenges that retail has seen on this particular site, I think it probably would be better not to have it, but if the city sort of deems that as necessary, then we can explore that further.
This is the site plan, I think, which we already had touched on. Said plenty of parking, really won't impact the adjacent properties to the west. There's not gonna be a lot of traffic. There's not loud music at night. There's not much going on
at my building. So what the logic here is, so first off, we don't build underground parking garages. They're extremely expensive, and because our residents don't drive their cars, we don't really see that as a value add to our residents. Because typically what happens if you build an underground parking garage, it's a nice amenity, but the cost is always baked into the rent somehow. And we're trying to deliver excellent care and amenities at a somewhat affordable price. I mean, these buildings the care just gets so expensive as it is. So we typically park, and if we were to continue on through this process, we'd love to explore, we could explore this further with staff, but we typically park between like 35 and 50 stalls. Our logic here was just given the existing retail and then the neighboring use to just fit our building on the site in a way that we think would be advantageous, and then fill out the rest of the lot or the site with parking. So we ended up with around 62 stalls here. From my perspective, that would be more than adequate for our operation. But as I said, we can work through that further with staff.
So this is Lucas's portion where his brag book of just some of the interior designs. So it's meant to look high end, homey. Certainly not, doesn't look like a nursing home.
Yeah, very residential.
It's a senior care facility.
We spent a lot of time ensuring that this feels like home for our residents, and it becomes like a place of community, and it's not just a place to go to like for hospice and to get your things done. And so we really try to we build an efficient building from an overall square footage standpoint, but that allows us to make it feel really nice and comfortable. And this would be these would be our buildings that we built with Hempel. One is down in La Crosse. This one is actually up in the Green Bay area. The interior aesthetic would definitely carry over.
This is one of the units. This shows there's actually some 2-bedroom units. There's some single units as well.
Yeah, we have a mix. Well, the way that we do it, just for your edification, is our high acuity assisted living and memory care units are all studios. And then our assisted living units are a mix of 1-bed den, and 2-bed units. We're all pretty efficient units. Most of the people who are moving into the 2-bed units are actually single, and they're using the second bedroom or even the den is just like an activity room or for family when they're visiting. We have, I think our second person rate or incidence is around 10 or 15%. So we don't have a ton of second person.
So just to talk through some of the staff comments and kind of our thoughts on each one of them. We think it fits well in that neighborhood. I think there's a lot of different types of housing in that neighborhood already. And we think this fits kind of right in the sweet spot.
For what it's worth, I think this is a perfect adjacency to a 55 co-op. Those people are eventually, as they age, they're going to want to stay in the neighborhood, and to be able to move right next door if and when they need care, I think is a huge advantage for those people.
Talk about the retail building already. We're okay eliminating, making that additional green space. This comes to the pedestrian connection. Certainly this is sketch plan, so we'll refine the plans, and that will certainly be included. Parking and access, we don't need any additional access points in what already exists off of Founder Circle. If we'd like to look at trimming back the parking, I think, Lucas, you said we're open to that. Architectural features will meet all the design requirements that are required for this district, which are more stringent, I think, than the rest of the city in general. And then stormwater. I know there's offsite ponding for storage, but treatment can also be done on site. We should have more than enough space for that. So I just threw some stats in here. In terms of the types of employees, it's really like it's a care facility, so it looks similar to like a dental office. There's a receptionist, medical director, or doctor sometimes, marketing, nursing, chefs, cooks, janitorial, and they even have a hair salon. So it's a stylist on staff or contracted. I think this will shake out around 80 units, and the tax base creation's over 10 million of probably a little higher, but
Yeah, it would be higher than that.
yeah, but good starting point. So yeah, this is sketch plan. So obviously we want to hear feedback and comments and concerns and questions.
I want to preface the renderings. They will definitely change. Like they'll change some once we start to align windows with units, really start to develop the exterior. This is super early on. I think Ben maybe even just used AI to try to give you an idea of what like a quality building would look like here. So I wouldn't expect it to look perfect, but we'll definitely exactly like this. But we'll definitely meet the code and the intent of our discussions here with respect to quality. So that won't be an issue at all.
Okay. I got Lucas's name and I apologize. What was
Ben.
Ben? Sorry. Very nice presentation. Thank you. Kind of hits home for me right now because my mom's going to be 83 and a widower and definitely needs memory care. So I'm grateful that you guys have these wonderful places for our parents and grandparents to go into. I have a few questions. Maybe next time around, or if we proceed with this, I would like a front view. Did I miss a front view from Galaxy? I saw all the side views, but I didn't see a front view.
We will provide that.
Okay. And then I might have missed this because I was writing when you were probably talking about it, but what was that middle building? that's in the parking lot?
Oh, that was a retail building?
So is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, that can be a limit. It's like a 2,000 square foot.
So I figured you did, but I wanted to make sure. It'd be kind of cool if you had something, there that would, bring the Zavago people over and stuff like that. I'll ask some questions for Sydney. What else did I want to ask you? So even in the assisted living, there's no driving. I'm going to assume they don't drive mostly in the assisted living, but there's no reason for cars for the assisted living.
Very limited.
Very limited.
They will bring some. They won't generally
Use them.
We have like a little bus, and we provide scheduled transportation several times a week for errands and stuff.
Okay.
Probably be Waymo pretty soon. Yeah.
Do you have safety? I'm guessing it's a busy street there for wandering. I mean, I know with dementia and Alzheimer's, there's a lot of wanderers. Imagine you have them with a
Memory care is controlled access. So
right, with a bracelet on or whatever. Although my grandmother did get through.
tricky.
Everything's very, very secure.
Okay, I'll let somebody else go. Commissioner Schindler?
Sure. You somewhat answered my question a little bit when you said that the rendering might not be exactly how it's going to be. I noticed they have really large windows all over the place. These are all people's homes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, once our architect places each room within the inside, we haven't designed the inside. of the
Because I'm
building yet, so I think
imagining
once
all the
we'll-
shades would be drawn.
Yeah. The windows are not going to be this large. Like they're going to be much more residential in nature. This feels to me, at least this interior portion, feels to me much more commercial or even.
Yeah, that's what the feeling I got, because that huge entrance area, is that like the main entrance?
Yeah, like so we do typically have like some retail storefront glass at our entrance and like an automatic door and stuff. It's not this grand, and like we would have like it feels much more residential in nature. And then like above it we would have units rather than like this like big like open window area. So yeah.
Then my biggest concern is the fact that we've kind of I've been here through this whole process, and it's like everything was going to be retail with maybe some shops, some office or residential above it, right? Well, that clearly wasn't a market that was able to grow. But it just seems like every property moves from retail to housing. It's like housing next to you, housing across the street from you, and it's like, is it really going to be what this area of town was, what we thought it was going to be? I mean, you're putting in a building with virtually no one that's going to be shopping in the local places. They're not going to be walking around
Actually,
the shops.
So our target market when we market these buildings is the adult child. And what we want is we want the adult children. Like I love this area because I want the adult children to come and shop and go to coffee and go to lunch. And I want them to come pick up their mom. I want them to come pick up their dad. And so we will actually traffic, all the retail and everything in the area. It'll just be indirectly through the adult child. I mean, our residents will, I guess, when they go on outings with their family.
Right.
But yeah,
And then the staff too.
and the staff absolutely, yeah, the staff will definitely utilize the retail around.
But I mean, I think it's. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be it'd be a nice building, and like you said, there's all the levels of living right around there, from just regular for rent to 55 plus to co-op to, and now adding a memory. Is there any other memory care around there? I'm trying to think.
Just over on Pilot Knob, right? That's the only one.
I'd have to get over to Pilot. Yeah, I can't remember if any, but
Tim, do you know?
I'm trying to think of the name of it over by the tavern.
Oh,
No,
Yeah, there's a Pillars building kind of to the east.
I believe that's senior care over there.
I mean, you know, a lot of things are driven by market. I've learned that sitting on this commission as long as I have. You can have all kinds of wild dreams of what you want, but at the end of the day, someone has to want to build it and has to be able to sell it. So I mean, I'm just a little disappointed that this area didn't turn out how I kind of was hoping it would, but I don't have any problem with this project. I think it looks nice. I don't like the idea of the Galaxy Avenue if it's going to just be small apartment windows with shades drawn. It's not going to really be that exciting, and you're basically not. The shopping kind of ends. When
There,
you're
there will
south
be
from-
some open areas like dining rooms
Yeah, I mean,
and
we'll have
the
amenities
salon
on,
and
we'll have
yeah.
amenities on that side of the building.
Yeah,
so,
we
like,
try to put that on the corner or something.
the-
Where,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, we'll have dining. We still need to program a little bit further, but like the kind of that like main entry area, and then it would be, well, there's actually two main amenity areas. One is dedicated to memory care, and then one would be dedicated to assisted living memory care because it's secure. The memory care that we're proposing, do you have the overall site plan? Could you pull that up? Because I could just walk you through kind of, at least conceptually, what we were
Yeah,
thinking.
that showed it right here.
Yeah. So like your memory care amenity spaces would be along Galaxy on the first floor,
right
kinda
by the
on
corner of the
on
building.
east side in the corner, and then where it says Commons there, and it's all kind of gray or like
Yep.
light gray. That's all going to be like dining room and club room and library, and a lot of that stuff's going to be facing Galaxy, and it will have large, like expansive glass for sure.
I do like that because last thing I'd want is it just to be like a darkened
Oh,
row,
100%, yeah.
you know. But yeah. All right. Thank you.
I completely agree with you that what our dream was to have it there and everything, but when no one bites at it,
Right.
you know? And the more that I drive, well, I drive in that area quite a bit anyway. I don't know that retail would have been really good there anyway because of the traffic increase and stuff. At least here, I feel like there isn't going to be additional traffic to it and stuff, so. Commissioner Scanlon?
Madam Chair, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, we worked together on multiple projects, and a couple of questions. I'm not opposed to the idea of doing something with the retail, but what have you done any projects like this where you've had a separate retail plot such as this?
We've done a lot of projects with multiple buildings on the site. Sometimes it's medical, sometimes it's retail next to medical, but nothing carbon copy of this. No.
Okay, all right. But I would go along with the city's comment on that I'd be concerned with just doing that retail space on its own and what that might be able to bring or not bring, especially with not being directly on Galaxy, which I'm sure any retailer would want in terms of traffic and visibility and so forth. And that kind of goes back to the comments in the report in terms of, you know, maybe moving that over to retail or over to the Galaxy area if that's something you choose to do as you move forward with the project and what considerations you have. If you don't go forward with that, and you talked about green space, I think it would be kind of nice to see more back, you know, moving over to the entrance area and, you know, bringing that green space over there. Like you talk about where you come over to see mom and dad or something, you want to go out and sit outside or something that, you know, you develop the space for them to have that versus just being right up on the parking lot.
100%. I mean, I would definitely prefer that.
Yeah, so that's something I would ask you to consider when you if you're going to move forward with the project. I was interested when I got this and saw it that you were both doing memory care and assisted living. Thank you, because the one of the other
Right here.
memory care. Keep an eye on me. That are one of our other big providers of senior housing have, when they did their expansion, that was one question I had because that was part of their original concept, and they just went with just straight senior living, and that they said in the current marketplace with Medicare and so forth, and that it just wasn't financially viable. So I'd like to get your comment on that. That component of it.
Yeah, I mean, we're basically 100% private pay.
Okay.
We generally only take Medicare if like somebody we'll qualify everybody before they qualify their assets before they come into our building to try to ensure that you know they can pay private for their stay. If they do run out of money, then we would flip for a short period over to Medicare, Medicaid, to keep them in the building so they don't have a last minute move. But it's not like a primary source of our revenue. Again, that's more like a dignity thing. It's like really traumatic for an old person to move in the first place, but especially when they're like on hospice or something, they're running out of money. The last thing you want to do is move them. So
Yes.
our financing does not rely on government subsidy or government help, so that wouldn't affect us.
With this building design, where would you foresee deliveries and so forth take place?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it happened on the front side of the building, kind of right in that primary commons area. So a truck would come through, and we have like box trucks. We don't have like huge delivery trailers, and they'll come through 2-3 times a week, maybe, and then garbage. But everything would happen kind of in that internal courtyard.
Okay. Yeah, if you could, that'd be something that'd be nice to have a better, clear understanding on how that would work.
Sure. Yep.
For things. We've kind of gone through the parking, that's something that Sydney's going to work with you on in terms of what that means. You said you're going to probably have maybe about at max 15 staff members there at one time, and they could maybe be encouraged to park in one area versus another for walking and so forth. I had a couple of questions. A question for Sydney when she comes
we'll
back.
get her back up here.
I'm done.
You're
Thank
done?
you.
Thank you. Commissioner Sandel?
Thank you. Yeah. I actually kind of really like the idea of the retail, and I think it's because I like the picture of it because it makes me think of like bringing my parents down there for coffee or whatever. But I also understand that if it's the market's not there, it's not there. So, and I like the idea of the green grass too. So, I think my other thing was mainly for Sydney. Just I haven't been on the commission as long as some of these others, and so just understanding the history of what the reasoning behind wanting the retail rather than an assisted living memory care facility, I think would be helpful to understand.
We'll have Sydney explain that.
Right.
Commissioner Halas?
Thank you. Just a little background on myself. My father is 88 years old. He's in a memory care, not in memory care, but there is a memory care attached. He's in independent living. And that side of the building has got an entryway where they've got some clear glass arch where people go out, and they've got some metal benches and some green space out there. And it's used quite a bit.
Yes.
If that's something that you might think of, I'm not in the architecture business, but towards your entrance, that's a nice place for the family to meet and come out there.
Yeah, so this
point on
little
here.
this little green, because that
So it'll green here.
Ben and I went back and forth on how we're going to lay out this building. And when we originally laid it out, it was like we really need to do retail. We really need to do retail. How do we accommodate it on the site? And there was like this tension here because I'm like, Ben, I need green space for my memory care people. And so the way that we laid this out, you see the light green area on the south of the plan. So that's right off the memory care common area and like dining room. And so like you would enter the memory care area and have like seating and gathering space, and then have that
And that's
outdoor
a
space in
secure
the-
area as
yeah,
well.
also a secure area.
Mhm.
Good.
Yep.
One other question. We talked about a walkthrough. Is that
I think that's intended to come through, kind of through here somehow, tie into the trail somewhere in here. So we'll get that to work.
between the two buildings?
Yeah.
Walkthrough?
Yep, in between the parking lot.
Okay. I'm not opposed to what you have going, and I think that there's a need for that. I see my father quite often. There's a lot of visitors that come in to that building, and having the space to go outside, it would be very handy and very nice.
Okay, good comments, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we'll have Sydney come back up here. Okay, Sydney, now we're gonna get you. No. My concern is still the traffic. I hear a lot of grumbling, a lot of concerns, which is legit around the roundabout, okay? And then with the pickleball building coming in and everything, very concerned with that traffic in that area. The other thing I'm concerned with traffic is the exit, and maybe we can have the Zavago residents talk here in a minute or two, but when you come out of the exit, are they able to see traffic coming pretty well, you know, with the building right there? So my concern is, because that's the exit, right, on Founder Lane? Inward is 153rd, exit is Founders.
Right, you can, for 153rd Street, you could only turn left.
Right.
And then going, you're right, the other way, you can only,
So do you follow my question, is when they're exiting that area there, is the view
Right.
legit? Is it okay? Is it safe when they're coming?
that's not something we reviewed at this point, but that is
Right.
something we will review, and I can write that down as a concern. We do have site visibility requirements, and I do see how that hard corner could create some sort of visibility issue if we don't address it right away. So that will be reviewed to ensure that there is visibility. Coming from Zavago, that is set further back. I don't believe people would have an issue seeing that way going more south towards Galaxy.
Right. I'm just concerned with the traffic. Do you have anything to add, City Engineer?
Madam Chair, thank you for the question. As Sydney mentioned, we really haven't had a chance in engineering to look closer at this. So we don't have, I don't have an answer on your earlier comments on the pickleball traffic and how it would interface with this. As far as the sightlines go, in place today, we're comfortable with how the sightlines operate. They're obviously, we fielded concerns on speed on Founders Lane recently. We've collected data for that, and we'll be bringing that forward to our Traffic Safety Advisory Committee. And that'd probably be a good update if and when this project comes back, that we could get you more backstory and a comprehensive review of what we looked at.
I'd appreciate that. And like I said, about the pickleball, you know, there's going to be quite a few people coming there too. How much is that going to add to that area? And the four-way stop sign by the post office, you know, it's getting backed up quite a bit. And like I said, hear a lot of complaints about that particular area right there. Thank you. Anybody else want to ask Sydney questions? Commissioner Scanlon?
Madam Chair, Sydney, I guess one question I have for you, if this comes forward, is to how this fits into the 2040 plan, and look at, in terms of these kind of housing, whether it's memory care or assisted living or just senior living, where we're sitting with numbers in that area. I mean, I don't recall if we had specific projections that we're looking for to expand on that. So it'd be interesting to see how this fits into that. So if you could pull some things together there,
Yep, Commissioner
Appreciate that.
Scanlon, I can look into the 2040 plan. Overall goal as part of the comp plan is that we do provide a range of housing for all generations, so that would be included for this. A lot of the more senior facilities that we have in town do include more of the independent living, and then they do include some units for assisted living and memory care, whereas this facility is different, that it only provides the assisted living and memory care, so that might be filling a gap that we don't currently have in the city.
yeah, so that would be appreciated. So thank you.
Mr. Sandel, did you have a question? Not to put you on the spot, but did you have a question?
Yeah, I just would be curious to hear more of the history. I don't know if you would have that right now or in future meetings, but just to understand what we were hoping for. I think it's a similar question to what was just asked about the comp plan, about what we were envisioning for this space. And
Yeah, I can go into it a little bit right now, and then also maybe provide some more background material and include that in any future reports if this is to move forward. But Central Village in general was originally encompassed as 2 zones. Right now, I think we're up to 4 zones. So it was just more residential zones and then mixed use zones, commercial zones. This specific block was more of a commercial area. If any residential was to be incorporated, it would be more of a secondary use and on a upper level. And then when Zavago came through, again, that amendment split those two zones for a horizontal planned area so that housing was allowed on just one property and then commercial in the future. In general, there have been quite a few changes to Central Village to those more housing focused uses. You know, we have Riser now. We have the Parkside neighborhood, which includes 3 very large residential multifamily properties. So there are actual residential caps within Central Village, so we would have to analyze that. Again, this is more of a commercial, quasi-commercial use, so it's a little more of a gray area, but we would review that residential cap to ensure that we're not exceeding that. And if it were getting close, that might need to be amended as well as part of the plan development. But I can also provide more background if this were to come forward.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, Sydney. Anybody else? If not, this is not a public hearing, but I do see some sweet elderly people out there. If you would like to come up and speak, I would gladly listen to you if you're from Zavago. I'm just going to assume that you are for this, correct? No talking? No worries. No pressure. I just wanted to give you the respect and the opportunity to do so. Okay, that's it. So we will close on land use. Thank you. That brings us to other business, and that is Tim Benetti.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In a few seconds here, I'm going to have our city planner, Terry Dill, approach you, and she's got some news about the comp plan and also a special request coming forward.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I just wanted to give an update under the meetings that we have our comp plan coming up, the project. All cities in the metro area are required to update their comp plans every 10 years. That's based on state law. In February of 2025, the Met Council adopted their policies and the regional framework for the metro area. And then last September, they issued the system statement for each city that is the requirements of what we need to include in our comp plan. So we've started that process, we've been planning, and now we're just kicking it off. We did hire a planning consultant. Transportation Collaborative and Consultants is their full name, but they go by TC2. So that is who is going to be providing professional services for us to get this through the process. The comp plans are due December of 2028, but we hope to have ours in way before that. So tonight I just wanted to bring to your attention that we will be having a joint meeting with the Planning Commission and City Council to kick off our project. And we're looking at possibly the first meeting or second meeting in September. It would either be September 2nd or the 16th. And we're hoping that we'll have an informal with joint meeting before, possibly at 5:30. And then if we have any regular agenda items on our Planning Commission for that night, then when we would convene for our regular meeting at 7 p.m. So it's tentative. I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Once the date is finalized, we'll make sure to let you know right away.
You said first and second meeting. How many meetings do we generally have?
So I was referring to either the first Planning Commission or second Planning Commission meeting in September. We don't want to add another meeting to your
It's
calendar.
just generally one meeting.
So we would have just the informal work session before the regular meeting. We're working on finalizing the project schedule at the moment. So we'll have that done, and we will also have, we're going through the draft public engagement plan of how we're going to gather community input for our comp plan. So we'll have all that ready, and we will be presenting that to you at this first kickoff meeting. So
That's good.
I don't know if anyone has any questions on the process. I know some have been here through a comp plan update before, so it's quite the undertaking. So.
We can do it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Terry.
Okay, thank you.
Now, Mr. Benetti.
Madam Chair, just a reminder, your next meeting is Wednesday, August 5th, also followed by our August 19th. Our council meetings are July 23rd and August 13th. We do believe we have another application coming forward. I believe Cassia has officially applied for something, so we might be seeing that in the next few weeks or next month. So beyond that, I will yield the floor to our Madam Chair for a very special announcement if you wish to make it public. But I think you almost did yesterday
I did yesterday?
or Monday.
Monday?
Thank you.
Just for those of you who don't know, I have filed for City Council and look forward to the next few months, seeing where that goes, and we'll see if I'm still here or not. So, would appreciate, thank you. Would appreciate your support. Thank you, Tim. Okay, that brings us to adjournment. Can I get a motion?
So moved?
Second?
Motion made by Commissioner Scanlon, seconded by Commissioner Halas. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.